We do have a very special guest today. We have the one and only Daniel McEvoy, aka Crypto Dan. And I'm really excited to have him on today on the stream. If I'm excited, I can't even imagine how pumped you guys are in the live audience. So be sure to smash up the like button if you're just tuning in right now. But Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, markets have been super interesting. I'm really excited to talk about a bunch of stuff. It's been a while since we last talked, so we got tons of stuff to go over. And yeah, it
It
should be
has been
good.
a while. Yeah, just for anybody out there who may be wondering how long it's been, I can show you right now. It's actually been 10 months, I believe. We did our last live stream on
Oh
the
my
12th
God.
of June, 2023. So almost 1 year ago. And a lot has changed in the entire market. So yeah, we're going to have a great discussion today, a lot to talk about. Now, Dan, I know who you are. I know what you've done in this industry. I know, how successful you've been, and how people kind of look up to you because you've created so many resources and you're a wealth of information. But just for anybody out there who may not be familiar with you and who you are, can you just give a brief introduction just about yourself and in the crypto industry?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. So, yeah, my name's Daniel McEvoy, Crypto Dan on Twitter, and it's just Daniel McEvoy on YouTube. I've been in crypto since December 2017. And so it's been about, 6 years roughly. I started with about 5K, currently at, 6 mil-ish, roughly. It obviously volatile, fluctuates with the market. So done pretty well. That's by the age of 24. And I pretty much focus mostly on long-term investing, airdrop farming, mostly like automation stuff, because I don't actually airdrop farm myself. And I do quite a bit of pre-sales, not from like a KOL perspective. I'm not like getting in a pre-sale and shilling it to my audience, more so just from network and some close friends who run some syndicates. And I've worked with some of the biggest guys in the business space. You see on Twitter, I mentioned I worked in Hustle's Uni with Tate. I work with Luke Belmer in his Gem Hunters crypto group. And I also do some work with Aman Gadzi, teaching guys in Gents Crick. He's one of his groups called Gents Cricket Club, which is like
The NFT collection, right?
It's like an NFT. It's not anymore, but it was a NFT collection. It's now like a Web2 men's networking group. But it's just like all these different things is just to say that like for the guy in that side of the world who people go to for crypto, it's sort of me. So
Cool.
yeah, that's a bit of an intro on me. I'm just on Twitter and YouTube, and I just do all this stuff full time now. So pretty much.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's very impressive what you've accomplished in the time span that you have. I actually turned 27 years old not too long ago, but I'm aiming to get to the level where you're at now, and I'm on the path to. So it's great to have you here that we can have this discussion. Now, you said you got into crypto in 2017 with like $5,000 to your name. You started with that amount. Can you just walk us through? You don't have to tell us every little detail about how you came up from nothing, basically, but can you just walk us through that journey, like how it looked, what moves you made, just so people out there who might be starting in a similar position have some kind of reference or framework in their head?
Yeah, so I didn't make money for like 2.5 years, but I pretty much got in right at the top. December 2017, I saw an article about Bitcoin just hit 20K. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Didn't read it, just kept scrolling. I think a week later, I saw like Tron up 800%, Cardano up 600, and Verge up 500. That article got me. I clicked on it, went to Tron. Tron really appealed to me because I'm a bit of a sci-fi guy and I liked the movie Tron. I was like, oh, cool. This is like a coin about the movie, sort of. Same marketing, same everything. So that was like my entry to crypto. And I think beyond that, my interest has stayed because I'm really interested in psychology, and markets are all about psychology. And I also like the idea of investing is really fun. I like everything behind investing, and that's sort of what's kept me in the market. I never really was a fundamentals guy. I don't really care about the tech. I'm not here to change the world or to really try to support these things that are trying to change the world. I'm just here because I'm passionate about investing and I like understanding things in this industry. And so I'm purely just here to try to make money and learn and to teach other people. So that was what got me into crypto. It was Tron. Didn't make money for 2.5 years. I lost like 95% of the money I put in. I actually put in more than 5K, but at the beginning of the 2020 bull run, I had 5K. That's what I managed to get. But I started with like 10K. I think from 2017 till 2019, I put in maybe like 5K more. So I think it was like 15K total.
Okay.
But I lost like pretty much all of it. And I had no idea what I was doing. But
Right.
it was good because the earlier you start, the earlier you make money. You have to go through a couple market cycles before you can really do well.
I agree with
So
that.
I think it's just part of the journey, really.
Yeah. So what changed? How did you start making money? Did the bull run in 2021 just kind of being there in the bear market and then it shifted into a bull market? That's how you started to have success? Like, what was the difference maker there?
There was a lot of difference makers. I would say, to summarize it, it's just about learning what not to do. In markets, if you just make more good decisions than bad decisions, you end up making money. So when I was investing in 2017, 2018, even like 2019, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was learning a lot, but I still didn't understand enough to the point where I was making less mistakes than good decisions. I was still fucking up a lot of the time. And I think just eventually after a few years, you've made all the mistakes, you've been burnt enough times that when any future scenarios come up where you have to make a decision, you sort of know what not to do. And if you can just avoid all the pitfalls, all the things that wipe out your portfolio, you end up only having small losses. And then if you are able to hit a couple big wins amongst some small losses, that's where you're in profitability. It's never about not making mistakes. It's never about not losing money. It's about avoiding all the account wipeouts, right? If you can stop stepping on all the landmines and you can just have a couple little things go wrong, then you're sweet. That's when you start to make money. And obviously, if it's a bull run, there's not many landmines because a lot of the time you get lucky, right? In a bear market where you would have lost money doing what you did, in a bull market, the market saved you.
It's much more forgiving.
It's much more forgiving.
Yeah.
So like you might think, oh, I don't need to step on these landmines that Daniel did. I can just make money because it's a bull. Like, I'm in a bull run. I'm making money. I'm a genius. No, the market is just very forgiving. And when it comes to the bear market, very different story.
No, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And the point you made about making the good decisions versus the bad decisions, I mean, over the past year, that's been my experience, right? Like I did okay in 2021, but I was big in Luna and I got wrecked in the Luna crash. And yeah, I mean, I just never left. I stuck around. I continued to learn. And, this time I really positioned myself heavily last year in 2023. And I made a lot of good decisions to enter into the market then. And it's kind of carried everything, right? So I 100% agree with you. There's definitely pitfalls and things to avoid even in a bull run. But, for the most part, as long as you are doing at least some due diligence, some proper research, you should be avoiding all the rug pulls and outright complete, scams out there. But there's just an abundance of opportunity left, right, and center to make some big wins in this market. So yeah, I mean, thanks for sharing that. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that story. I know I can, right? Because that's just the cycle of the crypto market as a speculator. Everybody has to go through the lessons and the trials and tribulations, but some people do have it easier where they just join at the right time and they have some huge wins and they make their money and they leave. But for the most part, you will have to go through those learning lessons. Awesome. Yeah. So just to kind of shift the conversation now, you said you're big into airdrop farming. And I know the live stream or the video that we did last year in 2023, we spent most of the time talking about airdrops and, farming. At that time, the Blur airdrop had passed a few months prior. Now, I know you did really well in that. I also got that airdrop. But now you say you're only doing automation. And I mean, I know what you're referencing to. You're referencing to, of course, Farmbase Pro. But can you just kind of walk through your evolvement, how you've evolved from being an airdrop farmer, doing it all manually to, creating an automation software, and just kind of walk us through the entire story of Farmbase Pro and how it came to be?
Yeah. So I would say the first big airdrop farming win I had was Blur. Basically, Blur was a airdrop for people who use the platform. Obviously, Blur is a NFT like exchange.
Yeah.
At the point, it was just a marketplace. You just buy and sell NFTs. So all you have to do was mostly it was actually like bidding. So you just have to like bid on NFTs, and the process of bidding, you accumulate points, and then obviously you have a bunch of points, you make a bunch of money. I did a couple different wallets. I also farmed on behalf of a bunch of people. We made, I think, total 350K US and I made 100K from that on Blur. And here's Blast, another project that you're showing, I think, on your screen. That's
Yeah,
also
and the same
also made
founder
by
as
the Blur
Blur.
team. Yeah, and they're also doing an airdrop. But that was the first, I would say, big win in airdrop farming. There was a couple small airdrops, but nothing crazy. That was what made me think, oh, really, this is really cool. I honestly never was big on doing the farming myself because I run all these businesses and I don't find it enjoyable.
Yeah,
But
same
what
with
I
me.
would do is I would learn the system and then I would teach it to other people to run it for me. So for example, Blur, I was in the trenches for, let's say, like a week or so doing it all manually. And I was like, oh, cool. So, you got to do bidding. You got to be careful which collections you bid on. You have to bid not too close to the floor price. There's all this different stuff, right? And then I taught that to one of my guys on my team, and then he took over, and he was grinding that like 20 hours a day. And that was really good. We printed on that. He made some money too. And then I figured, well, I think airdrops are the new meta. I think this is just the best way to acquire users and to at least get short-term success with your project. It makes sense. It's going to be more popular. And we saw Base was launched. It was, looking likely to do an airdrop and how big that would be. And I figured there's a big gap in the market here. Let's launch a Base automated airdrop farming platform. It's the most scalable way to do things. And I also had met a dev who was doing farming, and I was like, hey, why don't we collaborate here? So we built this, and then we've added Solana. We've added a couple other airdrops as well. And, when we built this, airdrop farming wasn't that big, and now it's pretty big. So It was good timing. And yeah, we're going to be adding more airdrops, making our existing systems better. And yeah, it's a really cool project. I'm very happy with this. It's one of my first crypto. It's my only proper crypto native project where it feels like Web3. I haven't got anything else like this, so it's cool.
No, and you definitely did a really good job building this out. For anybody out there who's not familiar with Farmbase Pro, this is what it looks like. If you go to my channel and if you go to the video section, I have a bunch of tutorials on how to get set up on Farmbase Pro here, whether that's the base airdrops, Solana airdrops. I have some scroll videos. Anyways, yeah, this is the scroll video. So yeah, there's a lot of resources out there to learn to get started on Farmbase. And I mean, I can say for myself, I hate doing the manual airdrop. I hate it. Those little transactions and the tasks. I can't be bothered to do them, and you couldn't pay me to do them at this point, right? So the fact that this is available and it's once you set it up, you don't have to do anything. It does it all for you, and it does all different transactions on all different applications. It's very intuitive software and knows what it's doing. And I must say, I'm very happy with it, and I'm glad that you did make it. So who is this service or who is this product for Farmbase? Who should be using this?
I mean, pretty much if you want to make money from airdrops, but you can't be bothered to do it yourself, or you don't think you would be good enough to do it yourself, it's pretty much who it's for, which is, I would argue, 80% of the market. Most people, they do it manually when they really shouldn't be. They just, a lot of people just don't consider the fact that they can automate these things. Most people are just genuinely don't want to do it. I'm super lazy. I hate airdrop farming. I will do it and then I will get someone else to take over and do what I was doing because I would just be like, this is fucking boring. This is not worth my time. And it's way more profitable when you automate it because you remove the human time investment. And that's the most expensive variable of airdrop farming. It's the human that actually has to do things. I know people who run semi-automated, semi-manual airdrop farming operations where they have 100 Filipino virtual assistants, and it doesn't make sense. It's just you may as well just fully automate it. It's going to be way cheaper. You got to remove that human element where someone actually has to do the transactions. You may as well just code the whole thing. It's much more effective in my opinion. So anyone that basically just doesn't want to airdrop farm but wants to make money from it, it's perfect for.
Awesome. So I'm sure there's probably people thinking out there what's the catch? So what risks are associated with this platform? Are there any risks? And I will say, obviously, we do have to deposit, say, Ethereum or Solana into the platform. So there's a degree of trust here, 100%. But I will say right now that I don't expect Dan to run away with my ETH or Solana. But can you just take us through any risks that might be associated with Farmbase that people might be thinking about?
I would say the lowest risk would be you hold ETH or Solana, and if ETH or Solana goes down in price, you would obviously lose value there. Another risk would be sometimes we do swaps from ETH to stables. So let's say there's a swap from ETH to USDC for 3 days. ETH goes up 30%, and then we swap back to USDC to ETH. You would lose the amount of ETH that you have. You still get the same amount of money, you just have less ETH in that instance. But also on the flip side, we might swap to USDC before it crashes. So it's not necessarily, it's sort of equally weighted there.
Just general market movements, basically.
Yep. There's also risks of spending money on farming. So if you do, let's say, scroll, I think we have to bridge. I think there's a more expensive bridging transaction there. With base, it's super cheap. You'll barely spend anything on base, but I think maybe scroll might be more expensive. Solana, there's risks in the form of transactions not going through, like the chain's like half broken, and that's not something we can fix. So like it depends. Solana might fuck itself and be broken for a while. So that's another risk. You might not qualify because transactions are fucked. And then the last risk, which is the most significant risk, but I would say is the lowest probability, is the fact that you actually have to deposit money into a wallet, which a service has access to and can move funds, right? For you to have the process automated, there has to be a third party that can do transactions within your wallet. So obviously, if you're using a platform which you don't trust, then they could move the money out. They could rug. Me, the main developer, so we have the two main guys behind this. We're both doxed, fully doxed. Like you can see us online. We're not like anonymous people behind a project. A lot of people, like crypto's big on being anon, because most projects rug and they don't want to obviously get taken to court. They'd rather launch it anon, scam people, and then they have no problems. When you're doxed, it's a bit of a different story. You can come after me, you can sue me if anything goes wrong. You know, I'm like a real person. I'll send you my address. Come deliver the papers. Like it's just like it's a bit of a different situation. Risk. I mean, there's also risks of getting hacked, I guess, if the platform gets hacked. I know my main dev has incredibly good systems for security. I'm not a security guy, but he's been managing that, and I've had a look, and it's very impressive. So that's another thing, I guess, getting hacked. But I mean, with everything in crypto, there's risks. If you provide liquidity to a pool on Uniswap, the project can take all the liquidity. They can just infinite print their token and then rug the pool. You know, your money in a liquidity pool is not your money. You're trusting that the money stays there. So people will happily lend their money for a yield on Uniswap, never complain. But some people are like, oh, you know, it's dangerous putting money in Farmbase. Well, you know, like people get rugged all the time on Uniswap. There's no difference. You have to do research on the project and see if you trust it. And if you trust it, then obviously maybe it's worth the risk for you. Or you can just farm airdrops yourself and you don't have these problems. So it's sort of a way up. You have to weigh the odds up on what you think is the best decision.
Yeah, absolutely. There's pros and cons to everything. And yeah, I mean, I don't see that last risk happening by any means. And I get asked about that in my comments in like these tutorial videos. So I just wanted I wanted you to address it. And I think you did a good job addressing it. So anybody out there watching who is on the fence about Farmbase because, you know, you're not sure how everything works, you're not sure if it's safe. Well, here's the founder of the platform himself explaining how it works. So yeah, I mean, you can see my dashboard here. This is my EVM wallets. I have 47 wallets here. Most of them are just farming base. So there's quite a few ETH in here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how much of the tokens I get airdropped and, you know, how much money that's going to be. I think it's going to be quite a bit, and I'll definitely be updating all you guys and showing you the whole entire journey of me using Farmbase. And I know a lot of you guys watching right now are already using it. So, you know, we'll see what happens together on it, but I'm definitely excited to collect these rewards, and I think it's going to be a very fruitful harvest.
Yeah,
now,
that's a good wallet, mate. It looks like it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fat check for sure. All right, cool. So outside of Farmbase Pro, you're not farming any airdrops really. It's just all automated nowadays, yeah?
I'm farming Monad, but I don't really want to just talk about how I'm doing that because I think it's a bit of a tricky one. But yeah, I'm farming Monad with like 500 accounts or something. So yeah.
Okay. some classified information there about Monad. But anyways, yeah, I'm doing I really haven't done much for Blast. I just know that it's the same founder as Blur, Pac-Man, and I just like how easy it is. He has a set date for the airdrop. You get the points, and you know you're going to get some tokens. I haven't put much effort into this, but I think I'll still get, you know, some money from it. But I mean, there's so many ways to make money in crypto nowadays, and airdrops is just one method. So I do want to kind of shift the conversation now to, I'm sure what most people want to hear us talk about. That's the current meta. And the current meta is, of course, trading meme coins, whether that's on Base, whether that's on Solana, whether that's on Ethereum. I'm pretty sure meme coins have been the highest ROI sector of the crypto market this year, and I really don't see that changing. Now, you've also had some huge wins on meme coins. I know Toshi is one that you called really early. And I just, before you kind of chime in, I just want to say that I remember when you made your Toshi video, it was late last year in 2023. And I remember the market cap was at like a $2 million market cap. And at the time, I was way more focused on like the high quality fundamental altcoins, AI coins, gaming, stuff like that. And I wasn't too sold on memes yet. So I actually ignored that Toshi kind of video of yours, and I just kind of kept tabs on it. I watched it, and then I saw it go over 100x. So that definitely was a big kind of, I guess, wake up call. Cause it's not like I never traded meme coins, right? I've been trading meme coins for many years, but I was just super, super focused on like the high quality AI coins at that time. And I was like, I'm not going to deviate from my strategy here. So anyways, yeah, I faded Toshi. But yeah, I mean, that was an epic call, and you called it super early before anybody was even paying attention to Base. And, you know, at the time, Dog with Hat was the big meme coin, and it still is one of the biggest meme coins. It's blown to epic proportions now. But what made you realize that memes were going to be the meta before most people realized in 2023?
I would say that, firstly, the meme coin stuff was an evolving thesis in the sense that I didn't expect everything that we've seen now to play out as it has. I think the meme coin space has gone much further than what I expected. If I had anticipated this, I would have bought a lot more different memes.
Same.
I think the basic thesis that I had back then was every bull run, at least the recent ones, on each chain, there's a meme coin, which is the best performing token. For example, Dogecoin had its own chain. And I guess it was based off Litecoin tech, sort of. And it had its own sort of meme. And that was the first one. And then the next one was Ethereum's meme, which was SHIB. And that was huge. And then we had Bonk, or I guess Samo was the first one in the last bull run. And that went, 100x on Solana. And I thought, okay, if I just find the next big chain and I buy the number one meme coin in that chain, then it's a pretty much no-brainer play. And then Toshi at the time was the number one. I still consider it the number one meme on Base. And I just figured Base is going to be huge. Every time a chain goes big, there's a meme coin that goes huge. It's just a no-brainer. And it's sort of played out that way. But beyond this, the meme coin sort of space has gone crazy in a lot of different ways. There's a huge saturation of different memes. Every single internet trend has its own meme. There's like gym memes like Tran. There's just so many different memes now. Yep. And I didn't expect that, honestly. It's gone beyond what I expected. But that's okay. You can't catch everything. You can't predict everything. And we've done really well. Yeah, Toshi's up like 100x. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, epic. And I remember when you made that video about Toshi, it made me kind of look into Base a bit. So I did. It's not a meme coin by any means, but this coin, Echelon Prime, it's a gaming coin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I got Prime early, like at around $3, because I researched it and I saw, it's also on Base. And if you go to my channel and you search that, I also made a video about this one. Let's see the date, 5 months ago. And I shared my thesis about Prime here, and it ended up doing really well. I mean, it's up like 6-7x from that time, but it's not a meme coin 100x gain, right? It's a bit safer. It's a more established project. Obviously, it's not a meme, but that definitely got me interested in Base, and I've had my own fair share of great successes on Base as well. And the opportunity is just so ripe right now for memes. It's definitely getting diluted. There's definitely a lot of garbage launching. So yeah, how do you go about selecting a meme coin to actually purchase? How do you sift through the garbage? How do you find the diamond in the rough? Just a rough kind of, I guess, walkthrough of your strategy.
I definitely would say that I'm not the greatest meme coin guy. I mean, I think there's meme coin guys better than me. I try to get it as good at it as I can, but I mean, it's a tricky sector. You have to be pretty much like in the trenches 24/7, and I'm just honestly not. But I can give some pointers. I've hit 100x on a meme. I'm sure that's like social proof. But
Yeah.
I would say that what makes a good meme is going to be slightly different going into the next 6 months. I made a video about this. I'm going to post it tomorrow on the YouTube channel. But my thinking is that once Bitcoin clears the all-time highs, we're entering that final phase of the bull run, 3-6 months, whatever it is, maybe 9 months, where it's just crazy inflows of retail. And the coins that they like are much simpler in terms of the thesis than what people might like in a bear market, or even what people might have liked 6 months ago. And so I think what you need to buy in terms of meme coins is what would appeal to the people who are coming in the future. You always have to think about what does my exit liquidity want to buy? What do the people who I'm going to sell to want? And you need to buy it before they buy it. So what do I think the people coming in want to buy? I think they're going to want to buy things like Dog with Hat or Bowden, for example, would be one that I'm really interested in. Or anything that has mass normie appeal that a dude could mention to his dad and his dad would get it. Like, for example, there's been a bunch of experiments showing normal people like at university colleges, like which coin would you buy? And it's like
I've seen
Arbitrum, Aptos logo, Solana logo, and then it's like Dog with Hat. And people always pick the dog. And I think that's the type of people that are going to come in. And you have to take that sort of whatever you would call it, like a social experiment, and you have to see that that's what's coming. So for example, like just a pick like Bowden, I think is a great pick. We're going into the election cycle. It's about to pick up in a month or two. Bowden is the winning political meme, and I think for good reason it is. I think it will continue to be. I was buying this one a few days ago. We're up like, I don't know, it's up like, the chart looks awesome.
Really strong.
Yeah, really good chart. So basically, in a couple months, right, for 6 months, it's going to be crazy, non-stop talk about politics in America, all around the world. And all everyone's going to talk about is Biden and Trump. And I think Bowden has really strong normie appeal in terms of the name Bowden. It's like, it's catchy. It makes sense. It's like, I start calling him Bowden instead of Biden. It's easier off the tongue.
Right.
It's become his actual name for me. And I think the meme, the image is just perfect. And I think given that a left-wing and a right-wing guy can buy Bowden versus a left-wing guy probably wouldn't buy a Trump meme, makes a lot of sense to me. And I think maybe Trump might even mention Bowden during one of his rallies if it gets popular enough. And I think that will really set it off. And it's a completely like normal fair launch token, organic growth. It's not like a VC insider coin. Look at it. It's awesome. I think it's great. The socials are a little bit weak in terms of the following count, but I think they just haven't bought any followers. That might not even be the actual account. But yeah, I think, for example, right, with meme coins, you have to pick something that everyone can get. Everyone gets Dogecoin. Everyone gets Dog with Hat. Everyone likes it. And that's why it's been successful. And then GeoBone, everyone gets it. Like it's a funny Bowden Biden name.
Biden's a carcass at this point, and you got a meme coin pretty much depicting that. So it's perfect. It goes hand in hand. Now, I agree with you. Political memes are going to be really big. There's the Trump MAGA coin. There's Geo Bowden. Now, I do, because I got into this one early, and I think it's hysterical. So I have to share it on this live stream. There's also one called Big Mike. And I think that this one does have some huge potential. It's more of it does have some conspiracy elements to it, but chart looks bottomed out. Had a huge pump already, but now it's just been in this long consolidation. And I mean, this is just the ultimate troll, the Big Mike coin. So if we're going to talk political memes, I have to bring this one up. I do hold this one. I've held it for many months now, since February. And yeah, I mean, I would recommend everybody watching right now to look into it if you haven't yet. But they've been on InfoWars before. Like they went on a live call on InfoWars, and I don't know. I think that this one does have some potential to do really well when the election kind of hype kicks in. But that's just one sector of the meme market, right? Political memes, there's one thing. There's dog memes, there's cat memes, there's, I don't know. There's unlimited amount of memes, and that kind of shifts this conversation to the next point about the attention economy that we're in. The meme market is driven 100% off of attention. What has the most eyeballs? What has the most people talking about it? what has the most interest, and those are the memes that perform the best. And it's really, really interesting to see how something like Dog with Hat just took off and became the best, became the new Dogecoin. And I'm curious, actually, what is the market cap of WIF? Let's take a look at that while we're talking about
I think
it.
it's 2.5 or something.
3.5 bill.
Oh, wow. It's gone up.
Yeah, it's pumping right now, up 23% on the day. Yeah, so I mean, it's insane to look at what this one has done from late last year, November, December 2023. And I believe there's a statistic out there that only 2 meme coins ever have gone above a $10 billion market cap, Doge and SHIB. And I'm in the camp, and I'm pretty sure that you're in the same camp, that this cycle we're going to have multiple meme coins reach those $1 billion valuations. And multiple meme coins also reach above the $10 billion valuation mark. I think WIF for sure is going to be one of those. A political meme like Trump, MAGA, or Joe Biden could be one of those 10 bill plus meme coins.
Mm-hmm.
But, so here's my take on memes. I have kind of a shotgun approach. I'm in the trenches. I do spend a lot of time in the trenches. So I do buy stuff early, and I get wrecked a lot of times, but I also have some crazy big wins because of that. And the winners always balance out the losers, and the winners cover the losers. So there's different approaches to take, right? I think you have a different strategy in the sense that you're kind of more taken aback, where you're just looking at things from a distance. And when you see something that's more established and it has a bigger pullback, that's when you prefer to take your entry. Is that correct in terms of like an entry strategy that you'd implement?
Yep, 100%. I think there's 2 main strategies for meme coins. And for whoever's watching this, you can sort of think about which strategy makes the most sense for yourself. So the biggest variable for which strategy you'd want to do is, I guess, time sort of availability. If you're busy building businesses, or you just don't want to put a ton of time in the crypto, then my strategy makes more sense. If you've got heaps of time and you want to get in the trenches and try to catch those 1000x's early, like for example, Bowden was once a 20,000 market cap coin. That would have made you millions if you got it early enough. You would want to do Connor's strategy. So for me, I'll explain my strategy first. So basically, I look for a coin that has already been out for a few weeks or a few months maybe, and I want to buy it on a 50, 60, 70, 80% pullback, whatever I think looks reasonable. And I want to see that the community has survived some sort of a huge retracement. Like it's died at least temporarily, and it's survived. Something like Bowden maybe hasn't had that. It's just been going only up, and I sort of have made an exception here because of the political narrative that I see growing. But you can see it has declined 60-70% multiple times. It's sort of proven itself. It's not a rug. The main thing that I try to do with my strategy is reduce the amount of rugs that I experience to basically zero. And I've been able to do that. I've never been rugged using my strategy. Whereas I think when you do your strategy, you have a lot more upside on the wins, but you also have a lot more rugs where you lose everything. It'd basically be like trading with leverage, 100x leverage, and the liquidation is your stop loss, but you only do $100 accounts. So you just get liquidated maybe 10 times, but then one time you hit a big win and then you make it big. That's sort of meme coin, sort of in the trenches strategy. You have a bunch of small losses because you only put, let's say, a $500 clip into each meme, but then that $500 clip in Bowden at a 3 million market cap turns into 300K when it gets to a 300 million market cap. So it's a bit of a different strategy. You have to, because you have a lower hit rate, you have to spread your bets more. You have to diversify more. When your hit rate is high, you generally want to concentrate into your bets a lot more. So like I only have 4 memes, right? And none of them have rugged. They've all made me money. Like they've all gone up significantly. There's 100% hit rate basically. If you actually looked at my wallet on chain, I'm 100% hit rate with this shit. Everything I buy just pumps basically. It's weird. But that's because of the strategy. Your strategy, or I guess anyone who does that strategy of more trenches stuff, you can make it big. It's absolutely possible to make it big. The main variable is the time commitment. So
yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of add on what you were talking about, currently, this current market environment that we're in, like we said in the beginning of this live stream, it's a lot more forgiving than it has been previously. So I've been taking the shotgun approach, and I mean, it's been nuts. Like what's some of these wins recently. Just to kind of go through some of them, there was Andy on Blast, which kind of kickstarted my mini run that I'm on right now. And this one, like you said, you know, each blockchain is going to have their go-to number one meme. And I actually implemented more of your strategy on this one because I entered this Andy on Blast. This thing's so slow to load. Give me a minute.
I use Deck Screener.
Yeah, I think it's just the live streaming like bandwidth right now for the computer. But regardless, so this one, I got in like a 2.75 mil market cap, like right around here. So it already launched. It had its first initial pump, and then it went through its long bottoming out reaccumulation here. I took that entry, and it ended up going from like a 3 mil to a 50 mil market cap. Now it's at 14. So yeah, that was kind of more of your wait for the big pullback and then enter, see if it can survive. And it was a bit risky because I did buy like the blood, the real blood here, super low, where it could have obviously been a rug then, but it ended up not. And real quick, while we're talking about Andy, I don't know if you are aware of the Andy on ETH, but what's your take on that whole situation with Andy on ETH, Andy on Blast, Andy on Base, the dilution that's happening with these Matt Fury Boys Club comics? How do you think this is all going to play out?
It's hard to say. I think there's always the first mover, and then there's the copycats. I try to stick to the first mover. I try to avoid the copycats. I don't like buying the derivatives of things. I like buying the main asset. It's just how I like to play things. I find going too much to the derivative of a main sort of trend is a little bit more gambling, and it's not really my style. I would say that you can build a thesis around, this comic series. There's like 5 different comics that you could buy. My only concern is that there's a lot of dilution. Obviously, there's an Andy on like every chain, and there's no established winner yet. So there's a high risk of you picking the wrong one. Whereas you buy the main Pepe, it's the Pepe. There's no risk there. It's sort of like you can enter with size, and there's no problems. The other risk is that there's no sort of meme behind Andy. Like no one cares about Andy. People care about Pepe.
It's piggybacking off of Pepe.
If you're buying a meme to sell it to mass normie inflows, they only know about Pepe. They don't give a fuck about Andy or Hoppy or any of these other ones. They don't care about it. They care about Dog with Hat, Pepe, Bowden. These are the ones that are going to get to that 5, 10, 20 billion market cap. So you can obviously make money on these derivative projects, but you're selling it to a different person. Your exit liquidity is not normies. Your exit liquidity is people trying to find exit liquidity from normies, right? So I would be selling Andy much earlier, those sort of derivative projects, than I would these other ones, because you have to front run the front runners. It's sort of because you're not going to get that exit liquidity that you want, because they don't care. They don't really care about Andy. It's Pepe. So that's sort of my take. And you can see Pepe looks quite nice here. I think it's one of the only memes, or one of the only coins that's reclaimed the 200 MA, which is a sign of strength. So something like Pepe, it's at a 3 billion market cap. That could easily get to 10, 20 billion in this bull if we get a further meme cycle.
I agree with you. I think Pepe is going to be one of those destined memes to cross that $10 billion mark. And I mean, from a chart perspective, you have that perfect bounce off of the 100 simple daily moving average here.
How's the volume? I'm curious.
I got to go to a different chart.
True.
Let's go to Kraken's not the best exchange, but it's coming back in. Anyways, it's super strong recovery. And just real quick, I mean, I see this happen all the time from a technical perspective. I'm not sure if, I know you do use TA, but I'm not sure like you're a crazy TA person, but
not like I don't use it like you're using it in this.
Yeah. Just real quick, we're going to see this a lot in this bull run because it just happens all the time, and you'll see the pattern play out. No matter how you want to look at it, whether you have a diagonal trend line or a horizontal level, basically what happens all the time in a bull run is we get these significant dumps, these significant pullbacks. And this is just kind of to address market psychology, especially for newer people in crypto, because I know they sell out of emotions. The market makers are always going to have a technical breakdown and make you think that the whole bullish trend is lost. You know, for example, here on the daily time frame, you break the daily trend line, you lose this level over here, this horizontal level, you spend several days below it. A lot of people probably sold their Pepe here because they're like, oh man, it's looking super weak, huge red candles. Now it's just kind of going sideways here. It's probably going to go further. So a lot of people act out of emotion and they sell the technical breakdown, but usually in a bull run, until the bullish trend shifts, it's always a fake out. One example actually I want to show is OXO. Because OXO did this perfectly. And this is one of these altcoins that I was holding. I held it basically throughout this entire consolidation for many months. And what happened here with OXO was, no matter how you want to look at it, basically it broke this kind of horizontal support level. And I know that a lot of people got shaken out because it broke the level and they thought it was going to drop out of this huge consolidation, but that ended up being the launch pad to push it higher. I'm just bringing this up because I know there's a lot of people that don't use TA and they see the red candles and they see a breakdown and they sell out of emotions. And I think that's just super important to understand that these markers are heavily manipulated, right? There's people pulling strings and, you know, making the chart move the way it is. And I've just seen the pattern too many times at this point of a fake breakdown, making the bulls, you know, feel like all the technical levels have been broken and then they send it. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I saw it on the Pepe chart and I just know people get affected by it and I know they sell out of emotion. So yeah, anyways, back to kind of meme coins. So
yeah, and that's also the beauty of meme coins, in my opinion. The price action's a lot more pure and organic and it's easier. So for example, like Toshi, it's had like 40 to 60% declines since I entered. And I've told everyone, just buy a 60% decline. And every time it went down, we bidded and then it went to new highs. Very simple. None of this like confusing fake out stuff. I think that's one of the beauty of like at least a lot of meme coins, not all of them. The price action is so much easier to follow. Like Toshi's like such an easy chart to buy and sell. There's no like big fake out sort of thing that happens, at least from what I can tell. And another thing that I like to do on charts like Toshi is I draw like the bullish shove pattern, and that really helps me find entries as well. And you can see that Toshi is just a series of bullish shove forks, and it just going to new highs after each one. It's one of my favorite tools to use.
That's just kind of a diagonal bullish trendline break, that one.
Yeah, it's like the lower highs trend line break and then another series of lower highs trend line.
Okay, so this would be one here before this massive breakout to the upside.
Yeah, sort of, but like I would have drawn before that, the first time it hit that level. But
if you want to share your screen, you can do it.
Yeah,
you should be able to. I can stop sharing too.
Cool. Can you see my screen?
There you go. Yeah, you're on.
So like there's a bunch of mess on this chart. Let me clean my room. There we go. It's better. So like if I went to the 4 hour on Solana's does it nice as well. Maybe daily is better. I mean, like it's sort of like this rough idea, and then you sort of have the next one. Hold up. I think 4 hours better.
It's just essentially bullish trendline breaks to the upside, it appears.
Yeah, and I just draw these all the time, and it's just like really easy. It's just a really easy way to tell you if the market's strong or not. So for example,
I draw them too. I definitely use the same.
There was one here, and then it broke out, but then it closed below, and it was showing you that it was a fake out, and then obviously the market dumped. So it showed you that weakness was beginning to come in. But throughout this entire uptrend, it was basically just a series of like these sort of bullish shove patterns. But anyway, that's just what I like to look out for, mostly on meme coins, mostly. But yeah, the market's very manipulated, especially if there's like a VC project and they hire a market maker and it's a shit market maker and they just like fucking with the chart. Yeah. Like, definitely.
No, that's definitely a huge case. And actually in our live stream we did last year, you were talking about that. At that point in time, I was still invested in a lot of older coins, and I definitely shifted my strategy after we had that conversation in that video. And I have been primarily focused on the new coins that just launched, say, in this bear market or just launched recently in the bull run. And objectively speaking, right, not subjective, objectively speaking, you can look at the old coins that are controlled by the VCs, controlled by the market makers, that have years of price action history on their chart. They all underperform the new coins. So, I mean, anybody out there, obviously, that's not to say some of these old coins won't pump. But the real opportunity lies in the new coins that have fair distribution. For example, Caspa, I think, is the most obvious example. You know, being the best performer in the bear market, no market makers or no VCs, pure fair launch, proof of work coin, and it basically went up only for over a year straight because there was no predatory VCs there to keep on dumping their essentially free tokens on retail. BitTensor Tau is another one that hasn't performed to the same length as Caspa, but still done really well. Another fair launch proof of work coin. So to anybody out there who's still in those kind of old boomer coins, I would say to shift your focus. And yeah, Dan, I'm pretty sure you still feel the same way about that, right? Like you're totally involved now in either a meme coin or a brand new kind of project, right?
I mean, like for me, my portfolio is just like Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, or meme coins. Like I don't really own anything else. I mean, I've got a bunch of like VC stuff, which is more like normal projects. Like for example, Monad, or there's like some projects launching on Base that I've got allocations to. Like I'll do the VC game. Like like that's where the edge is, right?
Right.
Buying the liquid VC tokens is not my edge. Like you have to think about what is your edge as an investor. There's billions of dollars of outflows waiting to exit or already exiting these VC tokens versus a fair launch meme coin where they're prioritizing the holders. And this is actually something I talk about in a course that I made. I have like a fundamental 14 of like the 14 main things I look for in a token. And tokenomics is one of the topics. And the question that I tell people to ask themselves about each project they look at is like, who is being prioritized to make money in this project? And if you look at most of the VC coins, the person that is put on top is the founders. And then the next person is the VCs. They're like, there's like a hierarchy of who's prioritized.
I've seen your sketch of this with like the bird sitting on that wooden thing and the whole pyramid. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about here.
Yeah, it ties back into that too. So you have to ask yourself, like, who's being prioritized here? Obviously, you can still make money on a coin that prioritizes someone who isn't you. For example, you could buy Celestia, which is obviously a VC coin, or Aptos before it pumped. But I think just as a general rule of thumb to make crypto easier for you, just only buy tokens that prioritize you. And it would be like same as dating, right? Imagine you're a white German dude and you're trying to date other, let's say like girls from Germany. And then maybe you go to Latin America and you realize, oh shit, they actually like me way better here. Like there's this a thing with Germans and Latin girls. Maybe go where it's sort of easier for you, where you can, where you don't, it's not so difficult for you. Like if the end result is the same, may as well make it easier to get to that end result.
100%.
And that's why I just basically just focus on things that can do multi-cycle outperformance. So Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, maybe not as much ETH, to be honest. And then new shit that pumps the most.
Yeah. So basically you're saying to be like water and take the path of least resistance. Just don't try and fight against the current. And, you know, the VC game, unless you're an insider getting the early deals, you know, for retail, usually you're going to get a short end of the stick. So yeah, that's why we are in my kind of view, a meme coin super cycle here because of these exact reasons, because it's fair game for retail and they have the opportunity to get into things on the ground level that normally they just wouldn't have that opportunity. So the market has changed drastically this bull run compared to the ones of the past. You know, in the past, it was all about the solid utility fundamental coins. And those are still going to do really well. We've already seen many do extremely well if it's in a bullish narrative like artificial intelligence. Some real world asset projects have done, you know, really good performances too. But yeah, I mean, memes are definitely like, I don't think anybody is ready for for what's going to come here in this bull market. I think a lot of people are underestimating how high they can actually go. And I'm here for it, man. I'm really excited to capitalize on a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But yeah,
I mean, like,
sorry, go ahead.
VC sectors could perform well. It's just that the VCs have just fucked themselves over. They were the place that people wanted to make money from, but they never brought any real adoption, and they've just consistently drained billions of dollars from the ecosystem. And honestly, like, don't get me wrong, I think meme coins are probably going to end up doing the same thing. There's so many meme coins launching which are just actually VC insider coins again,
right?
Or KOL coins. For example, like something like Brett or something like Mew. It's more like a corporate VC style meme coin. I don't really want to shit on Brett. I think you could make a lot of money on these coins, but
I agree.
You know, like there's meme coins that are pretending to be like organic fair launch meme coins, which actually aren't, and they're just backed by tons of KOLs who get early allocations. They get whitelisted wallets when the token launches, and they get to buy it super early. And or let's say the pre-sale meta. There's this new pre-sale bullshit with meme coins. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's making the founders rich before they've done anything, and you're buying into a project which has no proof that it has any real edge over other meme coins. And the problem with pre-sales is it sucks up all the liquidity that was going to bid meme coins, right? I talk about this in one of my videos. Each time money moves, there's profit taken from that move, right? It's like tax, right? Each time a business buys or sells something, or each time that money moves, it's taxed like 20-30%.
Yep.
So every time someone sends money to a pre-sale or buys a token or does something, there's an amount of that money which is taken out of crypto. And so you have to think about what percent of the money that goes into a pre-sale is then put back into tokens. It's not much. I guarantee you the dude who raised $1 million from a meme coin isn't putting that all back into the meme market. He's taken that shit to his bank account and he's buying a Lamborghini, right? The founders of projects, they're business owners. They're not speculators. They're people who make the money from launching the coin. They don't put that shit back into the market. So you send 10 million to a pre-sale, that's 10 million or maybe 8 million less dollars that was bidding memes, that's now bought a bunch of Lamborghinis or bought a fucking yacht party in Dubai, right? So each move of money is super bearish. So when you see this narrative pop up of $100 million of liquidity getting sucked out to some bullshit, that's the beginning of the end. And that's when the top of the base season was. It was after this meme coin meta, right? The market just cannot sustain having its bids of these meme coins getting taken out of the market. So yeah, you have to be super careful with that stuff.
Yeah, man. Really good points you brought up there. It's insane because, you know, people, they chase meme coin pumps like a crack addict chases the next hit, right? They're chasing dopamine. They're chasing that cheap dopamine. And that's why these, you know, meme pre-sales have made the founders so rich, because there's so many really desperate people out there that are willing to risk large sums of capital on some just complete bullshit meme coin pre-sale because they're just so hungry to try and catch a pump, and, you know, they end up just getting burned. So I've avoided all these base pre-sales. I haven't touched one of them, and I've had no interest on touching any of these base pre-sales because, I mean, if you actually can have success just speculating on the market, you know, you don't need to go and chase all these new pre-sales. And I mean, I'm sure you're in the same boat. You know, we've been in crypto for a long time now. I also actually bought the top in 2017, right? So I've been in basically as long as you. And at this point in time, I'm pretty sure we're both so desensitized to all the bullshit out there, the garbage, the scams. And I mean, a lot of the times we can definitely see right through it. And a lot of experience and a seasoned eye helps with that. But I feel like the newer people are the ones getting wrecked on these pre-sales because they're just so desperate to hit a win. And they end up, you know, putting themselves on the chopping block and, you know, getting the guillotine. So,
well, the problem is when you're new, you don't have an edge. You don't know what it feels like to be able to feel when something's a good investment. I will know a coin's good within 30 seconds, meaning that if I look at something and I don't like it immediately, I don't buy it. But when you're new, you don't have this pattern recognition system. You don't have intuition. So everything is equal. The pre-sale looks just as good as the actual good investment because you have no ability to actually even tell the difference.
Right.
So when you're a beginner, you're going to get completely wrecked for years because you can't tell the good between the bad. It'd be like, imagine you've never had a girlfriend before and you meet a girl and you think she's awesome, and then she ends up breaking your heart and cheating on you. And it was like, oh, I didn't know. How would I have had any idea? But then there's the guy who's 10 years older than you, was like, immediately knew she's a whore.
Right.
You
Yep.
can just tell. When you've
First
been
glance.
around the block, you can tell immediately if something is good or bad for you. In dating, in investing, in friendships, in business, you can tell a guy's a snake straight away. There's guys that I have avoided doing business with because I can just tell something's up with them. Something's funny, right? So
I
you have
wholeheartedly agree.
You have to build that intuition. And if you don't have that intuition, then you have to outsource your thinking to smart people that you can trust. If you're a beginner in crypto, you're fucked. You're not making money by yourself. Or you might make money, but you're not keeping it. The only way you have a chance is if you follow the pro, is if you copy someone who actually has the intuition. So for example, let's relate this back to a metaphor a lot of you can think about, dating. If you have never dated a girl and you don't know what a good girl looks like, maybe ask your parents for advice, and then maybe ask someone who knows more than you for advice, and they can point you in the right direction. They can save you from the rugs. You shouldn't talk to this girl. She's going to cheat on you. Okay, thanks. I won't talk to her. Talk to this one. Okay, cool. Like if you talk to people who know the game, who have the intuition, they can allow you to avoid getting wrecked, or at least they can teach you why you should avoid that, so you can learn the lesson of why it was bad without actually having to go through it firsthand. So it's either, there's two paths to make money in crypto. You either follow someone who's a pro, who's been around the block, who knows his shit, or you become the pro and you learn to recognize what's good and bad yourself. It's only two paths. And I see some guys saying my hair's greasy. Just a heads up, I put coconut oil in it when I go surfing so that it doesn't get destroyed. So it's not grease, it's coconut oil. Just letting you know that. Probably never been in the ocean in his life, to be honest. Anyway,
hey man, haters are gonna hate. I actually I use Van Man's beef tallow and honey balm on my face, so they can. I use products as well, so anybody saying that can piss off. They don't know what's up. But yeah, you brought up a lot of good points there, right? People, you don't know what you don't know. You got to be in. Your network is your net worth, right? Whatever your 5 best friends, you're going to become like them. Whatever quote you want to use, whatever metaphor you want to use. I'm pretty sure this is common knowledge for a lot of people, but it might not be because, I mean, who knows? There's some crazy people out there in the world that might be living in a cave and they don't really know too much, but God bless those people. But most people, I'm pretty sure they're aware that there's levels to the games of life. There's levels to the games of crypto. There's levels to the games of dating. Obviously, Meek Mill is gone down a dark path, but he has a good song called Levels, and he says there's levels to this shit, and it's very true. There is levels to it. So, for the newer people out there, definitely seek guidance before you end up getting completely wrecked, because it's very easy to get destroyed in this market.
Yeah, now, I mean, just like dating, you're going to have to go through a bad heartbreak, probably most people, before you end up seeing success. You're going to have to probably lose all your money before you see success. If you're in crypto and you're new and you haven't lost all your money yet, 95% chance that happens. Like there's a 95% chance or more that you're going to lose all your money. All you guys watching this, you're probably going to lose all your money. Like that's just part of the journey. Every week, almost every few days, I get a message from a guy saying, "Oh man, I just lost all my money."
Same, actually.
I
get a lot of messages like that because it's stupid. What do I do? They get scammed, whatever. And it's actually crazy how much it happens.
I guarantee each one of those guys was saying, "No, but I wouldn't lose all my money. I'm different. I'm special." Because each person thinks, because you only experience life through you. You don't know if anyone else experiences life. They could all be NPCs. So you think you're special because you can only experience life through you. You think all the rest are NPCs. So you think, oh, I don't need to lose my money because I experience life and I don't know if anyone else does, so I'm special. No, everyone else is getting rugged, losing all their money in this bear market. Probably you as well. So it's just part of the journey. Like, just get ready for it. Like, all your money's going away.
Yeah, I mean, well said. And not to spend too much time talking about the same thing, but it's important for newer people to hear it because they just keep on walking into the same loop, the same trap, right? They're in like this alternative dimension where they just keep on living in Groundhog Day, the Truman Show, right? They just can't escape their own self-demise. So yeah, it takes time to learn, but you will eventually get over the hump. And the way to cut that time and, fast track your success is obviously to seek out a mentor. Like, it's just like any other thing in life. You want to get good at something, you learn from somebody who's already good. And that's life. All right. So we covered a lot, from airdrops, meme coins, some general crypto investing tips. Real quick about airdrop strategy. I meant to ask you this earlier, but what's the best strategy right now for Farmbase? Like, if somebody hasn't used this at all, where should they put their Ethereum on Farmbase? Should they farm base only? Should they farm Solana? Any of these other ones? What would you recommend?
Yeah. Well, firstly, they should use your link. I don't know if we have a discount thing, but we might. They should use your link. You should link the Farmbase link in the
It's in the description already, guys.
Yeah, you should use the link in the description to support Connor, and obviously I think it might be a discount link or something. But anyway, what you should do is you should definitely do base. Solana, there's a bit of fuckery with the chain. Most of the transactions don't go through for everyone. So there's a bit of an issue with Solana. We're trying to fix it. But there's only so much we can fix with failed transactions. Like, you can't fix a failed transaction when the entire chain's broken. So Solana, it's like, I think it could be profitable, but the chain's a bit broken. So there's problems there. I'd say definitely do base, definitely do scroll. Linear might be getting a little close to the airdrop date, but I think also worth doing. It's worth doing Solana, but just understand, excuse me, that the transactions are a bit fucked for a bit. It's once the chains, if they can fix the chain with Fire Dancer whenever that comes out, then everything's back to normal. But definitely scroll, definitely base, I would say.
Cool. And I don't believe there is a discount link for my link right now, so maybe we can talk about that afterwards. And
yeah, we can look into that. I don't know if that's a thing, but we can try to make it.
Cool. I'm sure the community here, the Crypto Empire community, would greatly appreciate that. So that's awesome. All right. Now you're all in on memes basically, and then Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, you said.
Pretty much.
So to anybody out there who's all in these utility coins, and they're not holding any memes because they have this thought in their head that they're like, hey, I need to invest in these solid fundamental projects that are going to change the world, and meme coins are useless. And I hear this talked about all the time in like different circles, and these people say, oh, everybody who's trading meme coins, they're complete liars. They only put in $100 into each meme, and they never actually make any money with them. Like, there's just so much kind of blocking yourself off from success that I see in the meme market. I think that's changing a lot because people like yourself, myself as well, showing what I'm doing on YouTube and having huge success. I think a lot of people are coming around and realizing that, yeah, you can actually make real money in memes. But to anybody out there who still has that old fixed mindset of, I only should be buying the utility coins, the fundamentally solid ones that are, building groundbreaking technology to change the world, and all these other buzzwords, what would you say to those people to wake them up to the fact that they're getting lapped, they're getting outperformed, and they're basically getting laughed at and pointed at because they're underperforming so much at this point? What would be a wake-up call to these types of people?
Well, I mean, it's just a misunderstanding of what crypto is. If you would only buy these fundamental coins if you don't understand crypto. If you understood what crypto is for what it is, you wouldn't buy them. So first of all, the problem is you don't know what crypto is. You think it's good. You think that they're changing the world. You think that they're building real technology. They're not. It's like it's a bunch of shit being repackaged over and over again, just slightly differently. 95% of crypto is a total scam. And the 5% that's legit, most of it you can't even invest into, or it's just Bitcoin and it's a huge market cap. So like most of this stuff is just a pig with lipstick. And I have an entire course talking about this stuff. Like there's the way that I view markets, there's an entire like sort of context to it. I wish I could explain it all in this live stream, but there's just so much to it. But the basic premise is just that it's just a big casino and it's all a scam, and you have to basically buy the scams which people will want to buy from you in the future. The main consideration that you need to take into account when you buy something is like future flows. That's like the number one thing. It's about where's the money moving. in the future. That's like the main thing you need to think about. For example, when I bought Toshi, the main thing that I was thinking about was Base is going to be big because Coinbase will send its users there. That's a big flow of capital. That's, in fact, the biggest flow of capital that I could see in this bull run. There's no bigger flow of capital imaginable that I could even think of. Maybe ordinals potentially, but even that, like, I maybe not even as, maybe bigger than that. So I just identified the flow of capital, right? It's coming, all the money's coming into this casino. And then you just position yourself before the flow happens. That's like the number one thing. You can buy the wrong coin in the right sector and you'll make lots of money. Like, for example, almost every meme coin on Base went crazy. You could have bought the shit ones and they still went up. But you were in the right place at the right time. You could buy anything and make money. Even in the last bull run, like layer ones were like the hot thing in the last bull run. You could buy like even the shit layer ones and they still went up a bunch.
Yep.
So you're in the right place at the right time. So I think you don't even really need to look into the project so much. The main first thing you need to identify is the flow of capital. Where's the money moving? What's the big trends? For example, in the last bull run, you saw Binance launching its own chain. You could have said, Binance has every user in crypto. They're going to send them to the Binance smart chain and they're going to be buying shit on that chain. You could have come up with the thesis that, okay, maybe I should buy the token of the swapping platform that they're all going to use, PancakeSwap. Okay, that's like a boom. That was a liquid 40x.
It was too obvious in hindsight now that you're mentioning all this stuff, man.
Yeah,
it was way too obvious in hindsight.
But I missed it too, and now I've learned that lesson. And that's why I caught it with this time with memes. So yeah, it's just, for me, it's just number one, don't even look at the project. Just look at where's the money going. Like, where's the flow of capital? Where's the attention going? And you also need to view crypto through a business lens. So whenever I'm analyzing crypto, it's always through a business lens. Because, like, obviously for my business, it's all about sales and marketing. It's about virality, getting attention turning into money. Same thing with crypto. Each of these coins is the same business as Farmbase. It's just about getting attention, giving an offer that people want, and then selling it to them. It's the same thing as what a meme coin does. Obviously, meme coins, launching coins is way more unethical in my opinion, but it's the same concept. The more attention you get, the more viral your thing is, the more money it can make you, essentially. So when I look at coins, it's like, where is the attention going? It would be the same as trying to predict which businesses are going to get really popular. So imagine I was trying to figure out which startup is going to get success. It's the same thing. It's like, which one is going to get tons of customers? That's like the main thing for me. Where's the money flowing? Where's the attention going? I sort of repeated myself, but that's like number one thing.
Yeah, no, it was a good answer to the question, right? It's all about future pacing and, forecasting what's going. We're speculators. All of us are market speculators. That's all we are at the end of the day. You can call us all these fancy words, but all we're doing is speculating on the future price of these assets. So we're in the attention economy, social media. People are spending the majority of their waking hours staring at their phones, staring at Instagram, staring at X or Twitter, watching YouTube. It's all about where the attention is going to go. And yeah, I think meme coins are capturing a huge percent of that attention. And we've been going for like an hour, 10 minutes right now. So I know it's kind of late over there.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, we started early, so I'm all good.
All right, awesome.
We can there's some questions in the chat if we want to answer. Some guy was like, why didn't you answer the questions in the chat?
We can definitely get to some of these questions. I see the whole entire, the Based Yoda army is here. And Based Yoda, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one, but it's one of the coins that I have had massive success with. And the community is just insanely strong. So they're definitely here spamming the chat. So shout out to you guys in the Based Yoda community. I appreciate you being here. And here it is sitting at a 7 mil market cap. So we'll just show it now so that you guys can kind of calm down over there in the live audience. I'm still bullish on this one, but yeah, congrats to everybody who caught the Based Yoda pump. And, we'll see where it goes from here. But anyways, we can definitely answer some questions. And I mean, there's a ton of questions here. So we should definitely focus on the super chats.
Oh, is there super chats? Okay.
There's been a few. This one, let's see, a $4.99 super chat from Sickos Witnesses. Percy he's shilling a meme coin here, Percy. we're not going to necessarily look into some of these meme coins being shilled on the live chat.
The ticker just immediately sounds terrible, so I'm not even going to look into it.
This guy gave multiple chats for Percy. All right, we'll take a look at this coin, but
Turkey might be like about the drug potentially.
I hope not.
Gonna get banned.
4 days old on base. Oh, okay. It's one of these pig coins. Look, good luck to you. I hope you make a ton of money with Percy, but I'm not going to say if I'm going to buy something like this live on air. But I appreciate the super chats, my man, and good luck to you with Percy. All the best. This one, $4.99. Talking about Boda, based Yoda. Yeah, we already talked about that one. A lot of Boda super chats. All right, how about this? I do have one more question for you, and then we'll get into some of these because there's just too much to go through. So my last question that I have is, let's say that you're in the same exact position you were in say 2020. Maybe you bought the top in the last cycle. You have $5,000 to your name. What's your course of action to run it to $1 million? Knowing everything that you know now, but you have 5K and that's all you have to start in crypto. Or maybe you've been in for a few years. How are you going to run it up this cycle if that was you?
Okay. If I was like right now, I had 5K, I would be basically working remotely, like getting probably a job in high ticket sales. And I'd just be all in on meme coins, basically. I'd be in the trenches, basically trying to get super early into meme coins and catch a like 100x sort of thing. I'd probably also be grinding in Monad to get the NAD roll, just for the Monad airdrop. That'll probably be like a 20, 40K airdrop alone. Just trying to grind for that roll. I'd also
talk
be
to you about that one to learn some
yeah,
more about
we can talk about that one. And what else would I be doing? I would be probably like very focused on networking. So I'd be like trying to build a little group of dudes in the trenches that I can just be in the trenches with and find coins with. Or I'd be probably trying to get a little bit of cash flow to join another group, just to try to like, because when you do crypto, you guys don't understand how hard crypto is without network, without like, so much of the money that I've made is just from me and my friends working together to like make money. And when I look at all the best guys in crypto and like I'm in some of these groups, I realize that it's all just an insider game. Like it's literally just the best dudes all hanging out, taking all the dudes' money who don't have a group. They're all doing crypto alone. Like that's literally the entire game. It's just insiders working together to take money from outsiders.
Right.
And
even at the highest levels.
Yep. Even at the highest levels. So if you're not an insider, you're an outsider, and you're playing the game on extreme hard mode. So like if I had no money, no connections, I'd be trying to stop being an outsider and I'd be trying to become an insider. I'd be trying to like network. So like it's genuinely impossible to comprehend how fucked most people have it without having that network. Like it is so much harder to make money. Like I remember back when even like 3 years ago, like my network wasn't that great.
Same
and I
as me.
still did well. But like, I think how much better I would have gone if I just had a few guys who specialized in a couple other sectors. Like I missed so many opportunities. Like imagine I had a guy who was specializing in Binance Smart Chain. I would have caught PancakeSwap 40x. Imagine I had a guy focused on meme coins then. I could have got SHIB. So many missed opportunities because of just the things that I wasn't able to find, which I could have found. Like the guys that I've met now in the last cycle caught these things because they had the network. And I'm like, fuck, if only I like were friends with these guys. So I'd be doing 4 things. I'd be grinding for Monad NAD roll. I'd be in the meme coin trenches, not doing anything else. I'd be working a high ticket sales job remote. So for cash flow, making 10K a month, whatever. And then I'd be trying to network. That's pretty much it.
Simple answer. And I think you covered all bases. Get your
What about
cash
you?
flow right. I would be pretty similar. I mean, I would find a way to get income, right? Because you need money coming in. Without money coming in, you're up shit's creek without a paddle, basically. So you need income, whether it's a high ticket sales job, whether that's a normal sales job working for a regular company. Obviously, that's going to eat more of your time if you're not doing it remote. Anyway, you just need to figure out a way to get money in your bank account, so that you can actually go ahead and, live stress-free and cover your basic expenses. And then from there, I would also be, in the trenches. I would be in the meme coin casino. There's no other opportunity that exists on earth like what we have right now. And I think that this is going to be like the last cycle where we have this abundance of opportunities just because of regulations that are going to come in afterwards. I think this is my own speculation, but I don't see the freedom that we have now lasting for like another 4 years. So I would strike while the iron is hot, and I would be, balls deep in the shitcoin trenches, 100%. And I mean, not just to, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not to just, piggyback off of your answer, but you hit it perfectly, right? You need a network. You need people with a brain and eyeballs that can research like you're researching. You can't just be a one-man army. And I've definitely fallen victim to this in the past, especially when I started my YouTube channel and, got into crypto. I still kind of am a one-man army, but I have like a good network now. But yeah, I definitely one-man armied it way too much in the beginning. And like you said, I missed so much stuff. And yeah, it was a big kind of mistake. You need to get involved with people that are basically, either doing better than you or just as hungry as you to succeed and willing to work hard and sacrifice and put in the hours to get good, right? Like it's amazing what can happen when you join forces with, people that actually know what's going on. So yeah,
for example, like each person has a certain amount of alpha that they can extract from a bull run. You have a certain amount that you can get, and it only can scale so far, your alpha. Like with the amount of capital that you have, there's only so much you can extract from a bull run. And I've realized this, like I'm always trying to find opportunities, but I'm hitting like this max capacity because all these people want me to tell them what to do. And you hit like a cap of like your the amount of alpha that you can extract, right? You might only be able to extract 30 million or something if you were to hit your max capacity. But with each person that you network with and share opportunities with, you actually increase your maximum alpha that you can extract from the market. Because each opportunity, you might only be willing to put in 20K of your capital. And he might only be willing to put in 20K. But amongst what was possible for you to put in, you could have maybe put in 200K. So imagine you told 10 friends in your network to buy this opportunity and you all put in 20K. There was no loss of how much you could have made because there was room to put in 200K. And now you've also got 9 other dudes telling you about opportunities that they find. Maybe there's a guy specializing in AI. Maybe there's a guy specializing in, I don't know, airdrops. And so when you all work together, you're increasing your maximum extractable alpha from the market. And that's what people don't realize. When you work by yourself, you've only got the alpha that you can extract. And for most people, that's zero alpha. It's just luck, basically. Most people just rely on luck. And there's a question here about how do you weed out scam coins from legit meme coins? The main thing for me is just time. So if a meme coin has existed for a day, very high chance, 80, 90% that it rugs, right? I said before, every base meme went up, but I'm not referring to buying a coin that came out a day ago. I'm referring to like the coin's been out for a couple weeks. Everything was pumping past that point. So the first thing is time. If a coin has existed for an hour, probably a rug. If it's existed for a month and it still looks fine, very unlikely to be a rug. Another thing you can look out for is the type of people backing it. So there's this one guy on Twitter called Sisypheus. I've recently done a couple KOL things. I haven't done it before. And I see him in all these different KOL groups. He's in every single fucking pre-sale in the world.
Let's just pull him up on the screen so people know how to avoid him.
He's like the man whore of the crypto KOL world. He's in every single deal. The first
guy here. It looks like I'm following him.
And it's funny because a lot of people think he's smart, but really he just prints millions from being in every single deal. He's like the man whore of the pre-sale world. He just hops from like dude to dude to dude. And he doesn't actually care about any of the coins he invests in. He just insta dumps them. It's just, you get him on because he's the hot girl of the crypto world, but he doesn't give a fuck about you. So like, for example, if you see this guy and there's a number of other like scam KOL guys, if you see them on the team of a project, probably going to die. right? There's been a number of meme coins trying to launch. They get these backers, these KOLs, and they die. Sometimes it works out, but like that's a red flag. If there's like red flags you can tally for every project. I'd add this guy as a red flag, for example, like major red flag. Like if it'd be like imagine you meet a guy and you want to do business with him, and he's just getting with a bunch of like strippers and stuff. It's like, ooh, it's a bit weird, bit of a weirdo.
Yeah.
Imagine a coin, instead of bringing on like real value providing genuine people to invest, he brings on a bunch of like these manhole KOLs. It's just a bit weird. It's like, okay, you trying to rug people here, like not a very long-term vision. If you bring these guys on, they don't really have a good reputation.
Yep.
So yeah, like you can tell like a short-term versus a long-term focus of a coin based on the KOLs that they bring on, based on who's backing it. In fact, if a coin doesn't have KOLs and they just did a fair organic community launch, that's very green flag. If they just said, fuck the KOLs, we don't need them, they're not that useful, which they really aren't. If you have a good project, you don't need them. You can just launch the coin and build a genuine organic community without needing them.
Yeah, those are always the ones that do the best, when it has the actual genuine organic community, because you can't buy that. There's no price that you can buy that for. You got to build it. And I mean, that just relates back to how everything works, right? Like you can't avoid the hard work. You can try and take the shortcut, but it's going to end up just smacking you in the face eventually. Yeah, I mean, I see these. That's why I avoid a lot of projects, actually, is because, when I see like, I don't know, Crypto Rover shilling something, I don't want to touch it, right? I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. So yeah, knowing who to not listen to is probably one of the biggest factors to avoiding a lot of rug pulls and a lot of scams out there.
And it's funny, like in the last bull run, I was working for a coin and I was helping them find KOLs. And there's so many of the guys that you all listen to who try to invest into projects early, and they will talk about the coin to their audience without mentioning that they got the seed round or that they're invested. For example, like Moon Carl on YouTube, he was one of the KOLs potentially investing into our project. And I don't think he really ever mentions that he was a dude in the seed round of a coin. He'll just mention coins without explaining how he actually has exposure to that. I've done my first ever like KOL investment like this week because I really like the project, and I will openly tell everyone like that I'm literally invested in this. I'll tell you the valuation I got, how much I put in. I'll be super transparent with it. But like guys like Moon Carl, they get on these projects. They don't tell you that they invested. They just tell you that it's a great coin because it seems more genuine, and there's probably going to be more people that buy the coin if he's just mentioning it without saying that he's a seed round investor. So like another thing to do to look for scams is just, like I said, see the people who are backing it. And you have to understand that most people, when they even shill coins, it's actually just because that they're a KOL, right? And they won't tell you, most of them, but they are.
Yeah, amen to that. That's how this industry works for anybody that's not aware. I mean, it's very obvious once you've been around and you can see behind the curtain, but to the untrained eye, right? You're just a cow being led to the slaughterhouse, basically. So a lot of good points there. This question from Charitable: for airdrop, is it best to sell soon after receiving? I would say it's always a good idea to, if you're just gifted thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for using some random protocol, I think it's a good idea to realize some profit immediately. What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, eventually you have to start taking chips off the table. I think sometimes airdrops go up, sometimes they go down. The edge of the airdrop was in the process of farming it. The edge of the airdrop is not in the ownership of the token. So let's say I got an airdrop for a token and I'm not sure if I'm bullish on the coin or not. That's edgeless investing. That's essentially gambling without a process. So you've gone from having a process, having a system, airdrop farming, making money, and now you're doing edgeless gambling. So it's like, okay, should you own this token? Should you take profit? Well, do you have any system behind owning this investment? Have you just gone from doing things properly to not doing things properly? Okay, well, maybe you should sell the entire investment and then put your money into things that you do have an edge in. Or what I'm probably going to do with a lot of airdrops is when I get free money handed to me, I'm selling it to stables and I'm going to take it to my bank account. I've already began selling like large portions of my meme coin exposure and sending it to my Coinbase account just in stables, ready to get taken to my bank account. Like, I don't care if it's early. Like, you need to start. It's just a good habit to implement, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if most people have never taken money to their bank account before. They've only ever put money in.
Mm-hmm.
And a better mindset is, there was a video on Twitter by this guy, and the video was like, crypto is like a butthole. It's exit only. And I was like, that's so true. Like, you shouldn't even, like, you should barely ever put money in. It's just, you should mostly just be pulling money out. Like, that's a much better approach than putting money in. I try to find ways to make money in crypto, so I never have to put money in. In fact, I don't think I've put money into crypto in years. I think it's been maybe 3 years before I put a single dollar into crypto, because I earn in crypto, meaning I never have to put in, and I'm just always pulling crypto out. So like, I think it's a much better approach to view crypto as a butthole. It's exit only, if you can.
Yeah. Interesting analogy, but it makes so much sense. And I guarantee you, I see we have like 900 people watching us. I would say at least 95% of people watching are what you just said, in the sense that they are only putting money in and they haven't taken anything out yet. I think that is so common, and it's just the complete opposite of what the small percentage of people that are having success are doing. So I think it's a huge wake-up call, what you just said right there, to a lot of people listening, right? Like, this is how the game is being played by the people that are having the most success. So you can either keep on doing what you're doing, or you can adapt your strategy and, figure it out. And, you will have to sell. There is going to be another brutal crash at the end of this run. It will all come to an end. And if you don't take your profit, you're going to be left holding the bag once again, with nothing to show for it, after spending every day of your life for the past few years staring at your charts. So if you don't have an exit strategy in place, you are screwed, because you will be you'll get dumped on. You will be the exit liquidity if you don't have a plan to get out of this market.
Yeah. A lot of people have never, ever sent money to their bank account. In fact, most people can't, because they don't want to pay taxes. They're scared of paying taxes. And this fear of having to put effort in, this procrastination from a future scenario where they have to pay taxes or set up the tax setup, makes them never want to sell. And because there is a lot of friction and resistance to the act of taking profit, like properly doing it, sending it to your bank account, most people never do it. And this is why it's really important to exercise the habit of taking profit early, because you want to make it as easy as possible to exit when the time comes. Because if you don't, you're not going to. For example, imagine a guy that you listen to sells his coins, and you're really busy. You work a 9 to 5, you've got kids, you haven't got the tax set up, you couldn't even sell if you wanted to, you've got nothing set up, but it's time to sell. You'll go, I'll do it tomorrow. You get distracted. Big work day, come home tired, go to bed. Wake up the next day, prices are down 5% because the market's begun to crash. You go, oh shit, maybe I need to get something set up. Oh, but I got to fix taxes. Okay. Tomorrow I'll call a tax guy. It's too late now. And then tomorrow you call the tax guy, and then he says, oh, well, I'm going to need these documents. Next day you go in. Oh, it's a Saturday. Okay, can't go in. Sunday, can't go in. Before you know it, it's been weeks. You haven't sold. You got no tax set up. Prices are down 20%, way below the price that guy sold at. And so you say to yourself, oh, well, prices are down a lot. Maybe I should just hold. Everyone on Twitter is saying that it's just a dip worth buying. So maybe, because everyone's saying it's good, I should just hold. I should probably wait for price to go back up, and then I can sell, and then I'll look into it. And then price doesn't go back up. That's the thing. When the bull run's over, you don't get that exit that you want. No. You get the exit that you can get. You take what you can get. And then because you're in meme coins, because you're a degen, because you want to get rich quick, the coins go down faster than everything else. And then you just end up getting more and more wrecked. You're now down 40%. You can't sell because you're probably in a loss now because you bought late in the bull run. And you've just completely fucked yourself. You would have avoided this entire problem if today, 6 months before the bull run tops, roughly, whatever it is, you set up the tax setup, you had the banking set up, you actually practiced the habit of withdrawing to your bank account, even if it's $100, just sell it. Just take it out. There's fees, $20 fees sending it to my bank account. Ooh. What's better, $20 fees or losing your entire net worth because you couldn't sell, right? You have to remove the emotion from the things you do, and you need to look at it very logically. You are willing to spend $30 on Netflix So you're willing to spend $30 on a test withdrawal to your bank account, right? At least see if you can fucking do it. Maybe your bank account doesn't even let you withdraw crypto. A lot of you actually have bank accounts which hate crypto. And if they see that you're trying to put money from Coinbase, they're going to start giving you problems. And then they're going to tell you, nope, you're not doing crypto anymore. And then you're fucked. So yeah, you need to get it set up today, not tomorrow, because before you know it, the top's in and you got nothing set up and you lose everything.
Yeah, I think that might have been the most important talking point of this entire live stream, other than all the strategy we talked about. I think that's the message that people need to hear. Because we can talk all day about trading memes and, you know, making the next 100x, but if you don't have a means to an end, if you don't have a way to actually make that money real, it's literally all for nothing. And I think you were being very kind of generous when you said, oh, you waited a few weeks and prices crashed 20%. When the bear market actually hits, in one day, your altcoins can be down 50, 60%.
Yeah.
Right. So you will lose your entire profits and your entire investment very quickly if you are not set up. And this is just the difference between an amateur and a professional. The professional does the prep work now. They check off all the boxes now. They do the annoying, tedious things now, so that when the time comes, they get out and they're driving their Lambo on some beautiful highway in Europe, while you guys are staring at your screen still hoping that your altcoin or your meme coin recovers, right? Like that's the difference. And it's harsh, but that's life. So yeah, really good points you brought up right there.
Yeah. And most people will ask you, how do I make 100x? But they don't ask you, how do they keep 100x? I don't think anyone's ever asked me, hey, Daniel, how would I like keep like 100x on my money if I ever hit it? No one ever asks once they make the money, because they think that them as their current state can make 100x and they can keep it without having to do any sort of deep work or building systems or anything. It's never it's never like, how do they keep it? It's always, how do they make it? And that's why all of you guys are going to make money, but you're not going to keep it, because you've only asked half the question. You've only asked the first half. You're not concerned about the second half, and that's where you're going to lose it. If you don't have a plan to keep the profit that you make, you're going to lose it all. So start asking the right questions. Start asking like, hey, Daniel, like, what's a good tax setup? Because I'm probably going to make, hopefully, a bunch of money. I want to prepare for this. I want to be ready for it when it comes. Because a lot of you, like, you're just saying to yourself, oh, I'll make the money first and then I'll worry about it. But I mean, maybe when you build a business, worry about registering a business name and all that shit once you've proven that you can make some money.
Yep.
But like, if your business is doing 10 mil a year, you probably should have set it up before then, right? When you've made $1 million from crypto, you probably should have set up the infrastructure to handle that before then.
Yeah, I agree. You got to do the prep work. You can't avoid the necessary building blocks, building the foundation. And most people, unfortunately, they just want to avoid everything. Let's see if we got any more good questions here. A lot of people really liked your analogy about
buttholes. It wasn't mine. Credit to the guy on Twitter for that great analogy.
That's funny. I mean, look, I think we covered a lot here. If anybody has any final questions, now is your time to ask them.
Yeah, if you guys have final questions, send them through. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, we've discussed a lot today. I mean, we covered everything that I want to talk about. Here's a question. They were addressing you, Dan, but I want to take this one first and then let you answer. So this person says, what do you think about staking Atom, TI, and J for airdrops? Don't do it. If you have to lock up your coins for 21 days, if there's a 21-day unstaking period, you should not stake your coins. And oftentimes the amount of coins you get for staking Atom, for example, that ecosystem, the amount of airdrop you receive for staking is just not worth it. So that's my take on it. But Dan, I'm curious if a different take.
Yeah. So there's two ways to make money in crypto. It's either yield or delta. Yield is you put money into something, you're sort of like lending money in a sense, or you're using money to sort of secure something and you receive like money back. So let's say you put $100 into staking and you get $10, 10% APR a year, or you put money into a liquidity pool. That's the first way to make money, yield. The second way is delta. So you buy something, let's say a coin at $1 and you sell it at $5. So you made a 5x on your money, right? It's the price change of the asset. So in crypto, the money is not in yield. Unless you've got millions of dollars, don't worry about yield. But the problem with yield in crypto is you, let's say, can make 20% a year, but you risk your entire portfolio. For example, when you provide liquidity on Uniswap, we talked about this already. If they rug the liquidity pool, you lose all your money.
Yep.
If there's a hack, if something goes wrong, if the coin dies, whatever, your money's gone. So liquidity pool, let's say you make 20% a year, but you could lose, you have a non-zero chance of losing everything. And that's a bad setup because the only time that a 20% yield is going to be worth something is when you have like $1 million. So you're risking $1 million to make 200K a year. Not really a good trade-off. So what's the big money in crypto? The big money is in delta, right? You're here because the upside's asymmetric. You're here because something goes up 100x and then it drops 99%. That's what you're here for. So if you're locking up tier for 20%, let's say a year, but you can't sell for 21 days, meaning if you want to sell, right? Let's say today your favorite guru says they're selling tier and you now want to sell it. You have to wait 21 days for you to be able to even sell some, meaning that when you go to sell, the token could be 10, 20, 40, 50, 60% lower than when you wanted to exit. So all that yield that you just made is lost in the space of 3 weeks because you couldn't sell when you wanted to. So yeah, you can do yield stuff in the bear market, maybe at the beginning of the bull, but you should unlock your tokens at least 6 months before when you think the top of the bull run is, because you need flexibility to be able to move fast and make quick decisions. Because if you don't, you're going to fuck yourself over.
Yep. So last bull run, I was big into like staking because I was oblivious. Like ignorance is bliss, as they say. And I made a lot of like staking tutorials on YouTube, like how to stake your Cosmos Atom. And it was, if I could go back in time, I would just completely avoid that. The 3-week unlock period can mean the difference of making a 10x or a minus 10% gain. So yeah, just if there's a staking unlock period, I would just avoid it like the plague and not overcomplicate it.
I literally do zero staking. I don't think I have a single dollar locked up. Maybe like $200 from the last bull run. Everything's liquid. Everything's moving, ready to move, ready to sell if I ever need to.
Yeah, and that comes back to like the people that you listen to, because I know there's a lot of people with a following on YouTube or on X, and they're telling people like, oh, and these people are always promoting like the worst coins at this point, like Polkadot, for example, right? You got people like talking like, oh, you should be staking your Polkadot and all this. It all comes down to who is your source of information, who are you listening to, and if you're still following somebody that's talking about staking your TIA, your Atom, or your DOT, I would do some landscaping on your list and kind of trim out the weeds, because there's really no need to take in that information. It's only going to cloud your judgment.
Yeah, I think in crypto there's like levels to crypto, and at certain levels you have certain beliefs, and at like level 6 people think yield's good, and then you get to level 9 and you realize, oh, yield's stupid. And when you're at level 9, you look down at level 6 and you go, huh, it's funny, like these guys are clearly on level 6. But when you're on level 1 and you look up at level 6, you go, oh wow, staking tier, this guy's really smart. But when you're on level 9, you're like, this guy's a fucking retard. Like, he should not be teaching. But when you're level 1, you just think everyone's smart. You think the dude on level 4 is smart. You think even level 2 is good. So if you're a level 1 or like not even a high level on the crypto game and you're listening to a guru, just be careful. Think what level they're on. You should try to, you can't, in a lot of things in life, you can listen to one level above you. So for example, if you're learning tennis, you can learn the basics from the grandma who's played tennis for for her life, and she sort of sucks, but she knows the game, because there's not much risk. It's not like you're going to sprain your ankle because granny said to hold the racket this way. There's no risk with learning from someone a little bit better than you. In crypto, if you learn from someone just a little bit better than you, you're going to completely fuck yourself, because you're probably shit and he's probably slightly less shit. In crypto, you either have to learn from guys who are really, really good, or you just don't learn from anyone. Now, the one exception to this is if you learn from, let's say, someone teaching you how to use MetaMask or how to open a Binance account.
Right, very basic
you can learn from those people, basic knowledge. But when you're in the field of where expertise is an absolute requirement, where there's a ton of risk behind what you're doing, you should only listen to a professional. And this is what they will say with any risky activity in life. What do they say? Do not do this this is only done by trained professionals. It's like only do this with the help of a trained professional.
Don't do this at home.
Yeah, don't do this at home. That should be the warning label for most things that you do. Don't do this at home unless you're learning from a pro. When you go skydiving for the first time, tons of risk, right? You're not going to go skydiving with the dude who's been skydiving for 3 months who hasn't got his proper teaching license. You're gonna die.
Yep.
You're gonna be dead. So, like in crypto, you want to lose all your portfolio. Learn from the dude who's level 6 telling you to fucking yield farm tier, right? Like it's just retarded.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself, man. All right, let's see. Crypto Cobain says it's always how much a G, never how are you, my G. Good point, man. Everybody just wants to take. They never ask how you're doing. Let's see. This guy says, what's the best method to withdraw for your profit? So that's a very detailed question, and I don't think we'll be able to answer that all on stream. Definitely I think that's a topic for another day or something to talk about like off air.
I mean, like I can give like the basics of what I'm doing. I spent,
please,
I don't know, like 40, 50K US on my setup. Because obviously I take this shit seriously. A lot of you guys have spent $0. Yeah, I don't even have a setup done. I'm over here spending 50K, like a yearly fucking salary just to get tax set up. So let me tell you what my setup is. I was an Aussie resident. I'm actually currently in Australia, but I'm not a resident of here anymore. So I don't pay taxes to Australia. You only pay taxes to a place that you're a tax resident of. You're a tax resident of a place only if you live there. So if you only spend a small amount of time in different places over the year, never enough to become a tax resident, you don't have to pay tax anywhere because you're not a tax resident of anywhere, right? You pay tax where you're a tax resident. So I'm a non-tax resident of anywhere. And I also, for withdrawing money and for income from businesses, I have a US LLC set up. So I have a company in the US. The US allows you to have what's called a pass-through company, meaning that you can make money in the US, you can use US banks, you can use US infrastructure, and you don't have to pay taxes to the US because I'm not a tax resident of the US, right? I exist elsewhere in the world. So I have all my crypto profits, all my business income. It gets obviously sent through the US LLC, and the US LLC is connected to a Kraken account, a company Kraken account, fully KYC'd, maximum shit, and then also a Coinbase account. So Kraken and Coinbase are the US ones. And so everything just goes through there. There's no limits. I have 2 personal US bank accounts set up, and I also have a business bank account. Mercury is a really good business bank account, my favorite bank of all time, and then just a couple random ones. And what you do is you go to the US and you go into a bank and you say, hi, I want to open a non-resident bank account. And they look at you funny and they ask you why, but you just tell them you just want one because I might be spending more time in the US, and then they let you open it. And it's a non-resident bank account, completely legal, no problems. As a backup, I also have a Dubai residency, not tax residency, different thing, residency. So it means that I can get the banking, the infrastructure in Dubai. And if I ever need to become a tax resident of somewhere, I just go to Dubai for 3 months, register for it. Now I'm a Dubai tax resident. And that's a backup setup. So let's say anything goes wrong with the US one, unlikely but possible. I have this backup setup where I have a company in Dubai. I have a Binance UAE bank account, a Binance account, and then obviously UAE bank accounts. And then I can always use this Plan B infrastructure as well. And that allows me to have basically infinitely scalable onboarding and offboarding with 0 tax whatsoever, ever.
Yeah, you just dropped the sauce right there. Guys, if you're watching the stream right now live, be sure to hit that like button for all of the information being shared here today. And for Crypto Dan coming in and joining for this live stream, be sure to smash that like button. And yeah, I mean, Dan, you just dropped the sauce in terms of how to cash out. So this is a recorded.
In the US, yeah. This won't work for you, by the way.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm very aware. Trust me, I'm very aware of that.
Yeah, any US guys watching it, it's a bit different story. But if you're Aussie like me, feel free to copy me.
Yes, sir. All right, let's see. Dan, how much more time do you have? Just a rough estimate. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
I'm chilling. I got like, let's say 10 minutes.
All right, cool. So we'll take a few more questions here. This guy says, when creating an exit strategy for a shitcoin, what would be 3 factors you would be looking for? I'll take this one first, and then I'll let you go
Yeah,
ahead
go for it.
and share. So what I would be looking for to exit a shitcoin, you have to know the position of yourself and everybody else in the market. If you bought and you're up 2x and you were pretty late, that means there's probably some people up 10x, 20x, maybe 50, 100x. So you have to look at the chart and you have to determine where everybody else is at, because you will be exit liquidity if you keep on waiting. So what I would say is it's wise to realize your initial investment not right away, because you don't want to dilute your gains. So let's say, for example, you sell your initial investment on a 2x and the coin ends up going on 100x from your entry. You just diluted your gains from a 100x to a 50x, right? So generally speaking, I look to take out my initial from like anywhere from a 3 to a 5x if it's a meme. I still am in a lot of these utility like AI coins, stuff like that. So for those, I'm a little more aggressive. I'll wait for like a 10x or so. But I mean, a shitcoin is a shitcoin, right? So they're both considered, like you said, the whole entire market is basically a scam at this point. But yeah, I would look to realize my initial so it's risk free. And then, I mean, how I do it is if I'm up massive, I just like slowly incrementally scale out, just like I would scale in DCA in. I just DCA out as well. And that's worked well for me. There's been times, obviously, where I should have just one clipped it and just market sold everything because the coin had gone down significantly and I could have realized a lot more profit. But there's always 2 edges to the sword, right? What if that thing kept on pumping? You would have been able to take out more. So yeah, I like the scale out approach. And I like to realize my initial investments after a 3 to a 5x.
Mm-hmm. I agree with not realizing on a 2x because it really does fuck with your returns. I think the way that you look at it is just when you build a strategy, there's like a number of different factors to consider. So for example, if let's say you're doing a basic trading strategy, you'd say, okay, how many trades am I winning? How many trades am I losing? What's my like win-loss ratio? Mm-hmm. And then you ask yourself, like, how much am I like winning when I win? How much am I losing when I lose? And then you might ask yourself, how many times do I get this? Like, what's the setup that I need? Like, is there a specific setup that I need to get an entry? And then once you've mapped out all the different parts, you've got like you basically put the pieces of the puzzle together. You can then see if the puzzle looks good and you know if you've solved it properly. So for example, with meme coins, if you've done it for let's say 6 months, you might go, okay, I bought 57 meme coins. I got rugged 40 times. 7 of them went 100x, and then 10 of them went 5x. And then you can take this data and you can go, okay, based off what's happened, if I was to sell half on a 2x on everything, I would have performed this well. Maybe you could have done a calculation. I would have done this return. Mm-hmm. If I would have sold half on a 5x, I would have got this return. Maybe that return's better. And you can actually like map out what makes sense based on looking historically, or even just, you can just use what you think makes sense. For me, if I'm buying a meme coin, it's 0 or 100x. That's my mindset. But same. I will realize profits along the way if it makes sense. So for example, I sold 25% of my Toshi at a $170 million market cap roughly, because I realized that it's at a point where a portion of the thesis has played out and it would be stupid not to take some out. And I saw a lot of euphoria on my news feed, and also the thing's up fucking 80x. It's like I'm gonna take some profits. But like if I was, let's say, later in the cycle, I might start taking profits earlier. So another factor is like, where are you in the cycle? If you're in like the final innings, you might want to, you know, be more aggressive. You might want to sell, not necessarily earlier as in like after 2x, but you might want to have a smaller holding time frame. You know, instead of wanting to hold a meme for months, you might want to sell it after a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So there's different factors, but you know, you said an exit strategy, and that's why I answered it from the perspective of a strategy. A strategy is putting all the back testing the moving components together and spitting out the data that gives you the highest return. For example, just one more example, when I was designing my the Hunter algorithms, right, which is my like buy low, sell high indicator, and I was trying to map out like how much should I buy on each signal? How do I determine what a good or a bad signal is? We would look at like the past historical data of like how many times was the algo correct? When it was incorrect, was it massively incorrect, or did it just go down a little bit and then up? And we sort of mapped out, okay, this is how many times we won, how many times we lost. This is how much we won, how much we lost. And we mapped out what made sense to buy and sell and what gave us the highest returns. And, you use that data to, sort of make your decisions. But for meme coins, like you said, a simple data set that you can't ignore. Don't sell half after a 2x. It's stupid. Yep. It's 0 or 100x. That's sort of the idea.
Yeah, and then when you see a stupid, absurd green candle, it's generally a good idea to at least take some off the table, I would say. Because let's be real, like you want to sell into the volume. You want to sell into the green. You don't want to sell when it's red. And most people do the opposite, right? When it's green, they're euphoric. They think it's going to keep on going. And then it turns red. And then they sell when the price is down 50%. So there's obvious signs. And again, there's levels to it, right? A lot of people, if you're on the lower levels, you're not conditioned to see a huge parabolic pump as an opportunity to realize profits. But the more that you do it, and the more time and plays that you actually, the more time in the game, the more you realize that there's a proper way to go about it. And when you see a huge parabolic green candle on a meme coin, it's generally a good time to at least take some off the table. So we'll take two more questions. This guy says, what do you think about the Brett and Toshi dynamic? Who will be the king of base? And are you swapping any Toshi for it? I think this one is addressed to you, Dan.
Yeah. I don't want to cause problems because, a lot of people that I am friends with are big on Brett, and I don't have anything against Brett, but Brett is 100% like a cabal coin. It's not a fair launch organic token like Toshi. There is 100% some sort of insider KOL thing going on behind it, which is fine. Most coins in crypto have KOLs. Most coins in crypto have insiders, and it's rigged. Most coins are like this, like 95% of them. But I think in the meme coin game, if you're looking for a meme coin that can survive and sort of appreciate over a longer time frame, not necessarily that I'm trying to hold a meme for a long time, but if I'm looking for a meme that will see like success over a longer time horizon, not just a quick pump and dump, you want to ideally see something that had a fair launch. It's got an organic, not paid for, not shilled, no whitelisted early wallets, no pre-sale, none of that shit. Just like a nice organic fair launch token. And if you look at all the memes that hit the highest valuations, they all were that. They existed for a long time. They had a fair launch, organic community. There was no team, no insiders behind it. For example, Dogecoin. I think SHIB was a normal launch. I'm not actually 100% sure on that, but maybe SHIB. Bonk is another example. Like these are all very much community-led, sort of more fair projects, in my opinion, that have existed for quite a while. There's a real community behind it, and it feels organic. And that's what I look for when I'm investing into memes. So, for example, I like Bowden. As far as I'm aware, there's no big KOL insider thing going on there. It's just a coin that launched, and it just sort of took off. And that's what I like to see. So maybe Brett could do well. Maybe it takes over. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's, the game is not about it's not about never being wrong. It's about sticking to your strengths and being right more than you're wrong. So I could be wrong here, but I'm still making tons of money, and that's okay. So I could be wrong, but that doesn't even matter.
And yeah, that's the most important thing right there. Like, you said you don't want to piss anybody off, and crypto shouldn't be so tribal where it's like communities going up against each other and cursing them out like a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 lobby back in the day, right? It doesn't need to be like that. For example, there's one coin, Hedera Hashgraph HBAR, which I used to be a fan of, but I changed my stance on it. No longer a big fan of it, but a huge news release just came out that BlackRock is putting some kind of tokenized money market fund on their network, right? And I've always said in my live streams and in my videos, I've always said, like, look, I don't like HBAR anymore, but I hope that all you guys holding it do well, and I hope you all make money. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, right? Like, we're all here for the same reason. It is a competitive market. It is a zero-sum game in a sense, but there's really no need to be just a hating troll all the time, right? Like you can wish everybody well, but do your own thing. So yeah, I thought you answered that really well.
Even if H bar goes up, it doesn't prove anything wrong against you, because for the time that it didn't go up, there was opportunity cost in things that you didn't
Exactly.
know. So for example, H bar went up 2x, but it did nothing for 6 months, or it went down 60% the past month, didn't it? It went down a lot. So there's an opportunity cost. You could have been speculating in memes up 50x already. So like
Exactly.
the people who would give you shit for missing out on that H bar rally are people on level 1, right? We talked about the levels before. They're just level 1 idiots. They don't know the game. They don't understand what the word opportunity cost means, which is just completely absurd to me. Like imagine not knowing what the concept opportunity cost means. Like no wonder you guys don't have money. You don't understand some of the most basic foundational principles to getting rich. It's literally like probably my top 5 most important term I've ever learned in my life. And people don't even understand it. Level 1 dudes don't have any idea.
Yep.
So yeah, people can't be given shit for for missing out on H bar or whatever, because there's opportunity cost. Right? The thing has done nothing for fucking 5 years or however long, like 3 years, whatever it is. Hasn't done anything for years. All the money you could have made buying something else that actually went up in price.
Exactly. And the coins that I bought smoked H bar right now in price performance. So if there's any dudes out there on level 1 who might be hating, you're getting lapped right now. So do better. That's all I have to say about that. Not even in the same bracket.
Not even on the same level.
Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to our last question of today's show. Let's see if we can find a good one here. You want to pick it, Dan? You can see the chat as well, right?
I can't see any questions, but wherever you're getting these questions from are good.
Okay, cool. So
you can pick the last one.
I'll pick it. Let's see. All right, this is kind of a good question. I think you'll have some good input about this. So this guy says, Benjamin, he says, how do you decide or think around how much to reinvest in business versus how much to invest into crypto?
I would say everything into your business first, and then if you have leftover, put it in crypto. Because crypto is a scam and it's just gambling. And if you're someone smart enough to actually be able to make money from a business, which most people aren't, then you're probably capable of scaling that business very, very far. Like if your business is at 10K a month, there's not much difference between you and making 300K a month. Like you've done the hardest part, which is actually making a business work. Scaling a business is not that hard. Like you don't need to be a genius. You've done the hardest part, which is overcoming, negative feedback from everyone around you and taking a lot of risk in terms of you have to maybe drop a career or something. You've done the hardest part. So from 10K a month or whatever level you are at business to 300K a month, whatever it is really just putting the money back into the business. And I think money back into the business, money back into yourself, if you're someone that has potential in life, is always going to be a better investment than any coin crypto thing could give you. It's always going to be a better investment. So put everything back into the business that makes sense. Obviously, the more money you put into the business, the lower the ROI that money is going to give you. So maybe try to do a mental calculation. Is there actually something that I could put back into the business? Is there actually an investment I could make into this business which gives me a decent ROI? Maybe for $100,000 there is, but maybe the next 50K there isn't. So then that amount you would put into crypto. But I would say always business first. That's 100% the way to go. But let's say you run a cash flow heavy business that doesn't have much expenses. Maybe there isn't a ton that you could put back into the business. And then in that sense, you'd be putting more sort of investment into yourself and then more into crypto. But let's say you run an e-com business where it's very more so about the exit than the cash flow. Then you'd be wanting to reinvest heavily back into the business because you're aiming for an exit versus trying to make money, cash flow to put into something like crypto.
Yeah, good answer. And I mean, I would say always invest in yourself first. That's the best investment you can ever make. Not to be too cliche, but it's very true. And then from there, your business comes first, really, before your speculative, degenerate meme coin trading that, you're probably going to spend the money on anyway. So
yeah, like you don't even need crypto. Like if you make 100K a month, there's zero reason to do crypto. Like you make money from business, you don't even need to touch this market. You can literally become a most people in the world who became billionaires didn't even fucking think about crypto. You do not need this mark. If you're a business owner, you do not need crypto. You really don't need it. It would just be a little boost or a little bit of fun or just something that you do on the side, but it's really not at all a priority. Like most people watching this probably won't make a business. It's obviously not for everyone, but if you are someone who can, you really don't even need to do crypto. You can just fucking ignore it. Just focus on your business.
Mm-hmm. There's 1,000 ways to skin the cat, as they say. A lot of ways to, get rich in this life. So no reason to limit yourself here. But Dan, I want to thank you for coming and joining me for this epic live stream. I really enjoyed it. And I'm pretty sure that everybody watching also really enjoyed it and got a lot of value. So thank you for being here, guys. Be sure to smash the like button for Crypto Dan and also give him a follow on X at CryptoDan19. Also subscribe to his YouTube channel at Daniel McEvoy. Definitely keep up to date with everything Dan is doing. I mean, you guys heard him here talk for 2 hours, and he clearly knows what he is talking about. A great resource in this space. So give him a follow, give him a subscribe if you aren't already. Also, you got the man here himself who made Farmbase Pro. He told you everything about the platform today. If you're not using this to automate your airdrop farming, I'm not sure what you're doing at this point. You see, I have basically 50 wallets set up, farming Base, farming Scroll, farming Linea, also farming Solana. So I would say to get on Farmbase Pro, strike while the iron is hot. More airdrops will be added in the future, but right now you got the base airdrop coming up, which is going to be pretty big. And then also Scroll and Linea, Solana. So get on it. Use my link in the description down below. I appreciate all of your support with that. But Dan, any parting words for anybody watching this or watching the replay in the future?
Not really. I mean, I always say like the same summarizing thoughts. It's just that you're going to lose money for a long time, for many, many years. And then if you stick with it, you'll make money. You're probably going to make a bunch of money this bull run. You're probably going to lose it all. So just I like prefacing that because that's the journey that 98% of people go on. And I think if you want to leave a parting thought, you should leave the thing that most people will probably experience. So you're going to lose all your money. Probably you're going to make a bunch of money. It's all part of the journey. Give it 5-6 years, maybe 4 years if you're good, and then you'll be printing. So yeah, and thank you for having me on. This was really good. The questions were awesome. It's a good question when you give a good answer. Like the answer is only good is only as good as a good question. So yeah, you guys were really good.
Yes, sir. Awesome, Dan. Great to have you, brother. I'm sure you'll be back in the future. I'm sure we'll run this back, but for now, this was awesome. So grateful to have you. Cool, man. Well, you have a good night over there in Australia, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks,
everybody
bro.
who tuned in. Yeah, no problem. And everybody who tuned in, have a good night as well. Be good.